Good afternoon, sir. What's your name, please? You might be muted on your end, DDC.
Justin Gibson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gibson, you've got some misdemeanor tickets where you missed court dates. When you missed those dates, the judge issued an arrest warrant for you. And as those matters, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. And if you cannot afford an attorney, court will provide one for you. Do you understand those rights, sir?
Yes.
All right, give me 1 minute and I'll get you a new date on these tickets. Okay, first ticket is you, 221-12815. And charge there is consuming alcohol in public. Ticket U, 412-811-17, consuming alcohol in public. Ticket U, 582-811-20, consuming alcohol in public. And ticket P, 133-1784, leaving scene of an accident causing property damage and driving while unlicensed. Sir, these are misdemeanor charges. Maximum penalty you face is up to 93 days in jail and or $500 fine. What I'm going to do is set aside the arrest warrants, enter not guilty plea on your behalf, and give you a personal bond. Your next date on these matters is a pre-trial, July 13, in front of Judge Perkins here in 36th District Court. Now for your significantly more serious matter. This is case 23055-822, State of Michigan versus Justin DeJuan Gibson. Counsels.
Thanks, Judge. Steve Benson for the people.
Yes, sir. Brandon Bird on behalf of Justin Gibson. Waive the right to form a reading.
And court will enter not guilty plea on your client's behalf as to bond, please.
Thanks, Judge. This is an incident that began to occur February 25th, 2023. People do have a couple of subsequent dates, but it began on that date. It has to deal with 7 counts, Your Honor. It started on February 25th. Here the complainant, 71 years old, called 911 as a result of an alleged felonious assault. Here we have the defendant and an accomplice. The accomplice is not yet captured by the police. They initially came to complainant's house requesting to sell crack cocaine on it. It's alleged that the defendant owed the accomplice money, and this may be the reason for the incident. This is alleged. Therein, the complainant refused the defendant and his accomplice. They both became irate, and the accomplice then pistol whipped the 71-year-old complainant in the face. Subsequent to that, the defendant here threatened the complainant, telling him he'd kill him and put his body in the basement if he didn't allow the defendant and the accomplice to sell the drugs from his home. There was also a thought, Judge, at that time to hold the complainant as a hostage. So the complainant, while he's locked up in a room of his house, gets free through cutting a screen door, flees his own house, flags somebody down, calls 911, and therein the complainant is subsequently taken to the hospital for treatment to his face, which required stitches. So this is where the new date comes in, Judge. Apparently 1 week later, the police responded to the complainant for the second time as a result of an alleged burglary. Apparently at this time, the complainant returned to his home and the defendant was upstairs, allegedly sleeping. The police get to the defendant's home, they arrest this defendant. While they're at the scene, the complainant sees the accomplice vehicle pass his house. The police activate their lights for a stop. The accomplice disregards the lights, takes off, and in the process, he hits another vehicle before he gets to flee. Since the defendant's arrest, the complainant has been receiving threatening calls from the accomplice, informing the complainant that the police can't save him. The defendant in this matter was ID'd by the complainant. The defendant in this matter is the complainant's godson. The complainant is his godfather. And there's almost a 30-year difference, Your Honor. Based on the facts, based on the investigative report, based on the counts that the defendant's facing right now, it's clear that the defendant is a danger to not only the complainant, he's a clear danger to the public if he can allegedly do this to someone of the complainant's age, let alone the fact of that quasi-familial relationship. Therefore, the people are going to be asking for a $250,000 cash, no surety bond. If the defendant were able to make that bond, the people would ask for a GPS tether, home arrest, and no contact whatsoever with the complainant or this alleged accomplice that's now sought out.
Thank you.
One more, yeah. It's taking me so long because I'm really trying to figure out what role my client played in this matter. You see a lot about Paris, Mrs. Redden, or that's about my client, Mrs. Redden, see, Paris was the one that pistol, allegedly, and all this is allegations against Paris too. But we see Paris is the alleged one that pistol with the complainant witness, Your Honor. I don't see anywhere where my client ever put his hands on the complainant witness, Your Honor. I see Paris is the one that drove by and didn't identify, which is my client. He did confirm that Mr. Gibson was his godson, but I'm really having trouble seeing the role that my client played in this matter, Your Honor, because his name barely even comes up in this report. But a little bit about my client, Your Honor. 42-year-old, lifelong resident, Your Honor. Indicates that he indicates that he has no children. Indicates that he was living with the complainant witness, Your Honor. So if the police found him sleeping in there, that would kind of make sense that he was living with the complainant witness. First of all, let me finish this. 42-year-old lifelong resident, Your Honor, indicates to us that he has no prior criminal history, not on probation or parole. We collect Social Security income miles certified to remand my client at this point. He does have some college behind, but he indicates to us that he just stay away from the location of the incident, and he stay with friends on the shelter. He stay wherever he needs to stay, Your Honor. But I do understand being charged with a lot of charges, but he has accomplished for some reason they don't have co-defendants on this case. And like I said, Your Honor, it's very difficult to see what part of my client might have played in these allegations, if any, besides asking the complainant witness, allegedly asking the complainant witness to sell crack out of his house. I don't see my client doing, I don't see my client, after that's mentioned, I don't see my client playing any other role in this matter now. It says Paris, and this coming from the complaint witness, this isn't coming from my client trying to put it on somebody else. This is actually coming from the complaint witness saying Paris is the one that wanted to hold him hostage. Paris, left the location. Paris planned to hold him hostage. Clarence took his phone. He owed Paris money. You know,
The defendant.
respectfully, Your Honor, I'm asking this court potentially for a personal bond. The court's not inclined to a personal bond, and low 10% bonds being fit by the court.
So here's the problem that I'm finding with that. You know, it does appear Paris may have taken a lead role. And maybe this defendant owes Paris some money, and Paris figured he'd use this house to run his business, such as it is. However, first paragraph, you've got the defendant then told the complainant they would kill him and put his body in the basement if he did not allow them to sell drugs out of the house. And apparently there was some indication that defendant and Paris planned to hold the complainant hostage until his monthly check came, presumably to relieve him of that check.
Your Honor, if I may, also the people failed in the facts that they were alleging from the investigator's report, on top of the fact that it was the defendant who said he was gonna take his dead body and put it in the basement, but he was the one that stole the complainant's vehicle. That was the defendant. That wasn't Paris. It was also the defendant that was at the house when the complainant was locked in his room. That wasn't Paris. Paris left. So as much as I can appreciate defense counsel putting everything on Paris, it wasn't Paris that threatened this man's life. It wasn't Paris that stayed at the house while the complainant was locked in his room. It wasn't Paris who ended up taking the complainant's vehicle.
So here's what I'm going to do. Sir, while this case is pending, you are not to use or possess any illegal controlled substances. You are not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're to have no contact with Mr. McMillan. Should you post bond, you'll be on a GPS on house arrest at some other location. The court's going to set bond at $500,000 cash or surety. There'll be a bond redetermination hearing on Wednesday, May 10th, in front of Judge McConico. Probable cause conference on May 16 and preliminary exam May 22, both in front of Judge King here in 36th District Court. Thank you, sir. You can step aside.